The dangers of synthetic fibers' carbon emission must be minimized to keep our environment and ecosystem sustainable. The oil rigs must be stopped, and the world should move to the more environmentally sustainable source of energy, right? But we all forget the industry that is primarily fed by this oil rigs, the textile industry. The textile industry contributes more to environmental degradation than any other industry. According to research, the textile industry is responsible for over 10% of global carbon emissions. That's scarily huge. All these statistics are damaging the ecosystem and destroying our environment. But production of clothing should be a risk-free industry. That was true some 50-60 years ago. But with the change in materials used by manufacturers and designers in the production of apparels and the shift in the demand of more organic clothing material by consumers to synthetic fibers, the natural fibers which dominated clothing production materials may soon be a thing of the past. This textile industry is dominated by polyester, nylon, rayon and acrylic. Another reason behind this change in materials is because synthetic and microfibers are cheaper to produce. Some time ago, the production of clothing was simple and at the same time laborious. Simple in the sense that simple materials like wools and cottons were used for the production of apparels. Laborious in the sense that the small farmers had to hand-spun wools and cotton to get the required style of clothing needed. But as demand increased, large fabric manufacturing companies emerged, where mass production of clothing fabrics were carried out. As the manufacturing enlarged, improvements were made to the manufacturing process. Chemicals were added to the fabric to prevent them from wrinkling and shrinking. Artificial dyes were added to fabrics and also flame retardants. Then after that came the petroleum-based clothing industry. That is a big culprit in the production of synthetic fibers and synthetic fabrics that now plague the environment. These synthetic fibers are mostly made of polyester, which is a plastic and it's a byproduct of petroleum. Polyester is strongly linked to hormonal disruption and even the formation of breast cancer cells. This health risk is not only suffered by the consumers, also factory workers face these health hazards. The process of changing petroleum into polyester is a long, toxic and nasty process. And these workers, some of them are children. They mostly work in terrible conditions and they face these debilitating health issues. The planet Earth is being poisoned without repair because of these synthetic fibers. It is reported that the clothing industry is accountable for over 20% of industrial water pollution in the world. Some of these chemicals, which are waste products of the manufacturing process, are washed into our water. Most of these chemicals are impossible to break down, meaning the water is forever polluted. No path to redemption. Seabirds too have been found dead, and cause of death have been ingestion of synthetic fibers that they thought was food. Most fishes have been examined and synthetic nylons have been found in their intestinal tract. Synthetic fibers are increasing long-term threat that must be tackled head-on, or we will poison our planets beyond redemption. Fabrics and chemicals have different impacts, depends on what they are made with. Polyester and nylon, these two byproducts of petroleum, are very hazardous to the environment. They are non-biodegradable and unsustainable to the environment. The production of nylon emits nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas 300 times more dangerous to the ozone layer than carbon dioxide. The production of polyester requires much water. The contaminated water after usage is flushed back into the waterways. Rayon. This organic fiber is made from wood pulp. Wood might look unharmful and non-toxic, but the clearing of large forests to get wood for rayon has an adverse effect on the environment. This we all know. Dye. Dye is another material used mostly for the production of garments. The unused dyes are then washed into rivers and waterways, polluting the environment.